guys, this is Joseph. I'll be going over my NHL bracket predictions for the Stanley Cup playoffs. So in round one of the postseason, let's start from the Western Conference. So between Dallas and Vegas, it'll be a tight series. I know Vegas has had the Stars number for quite some time. They beat them in the conference finals last year. I have the Stars winning in 7 games. Next, we have Colorado versus Winnipeg. I think it'll also be a very tight series, but I do think the Avs have a weakness in goaltending. I also think in terms of the pure star power, they have Makar, Rantanen, and McKinnon. They would definitely exceed what Winnipeg has in terms of forward skill. But in terms of the overall depth, I do believe the Jets are able to roll all 4 lines, and their defense is pretty solid. Also, Jonathan Drouin being out and Samuel Girard possibly being out for the Avs is a huge loss for them potentially. So I'm going to go with the Jets in 7 games. Next, we have the Vancouver Canucks versus the Nashville Predators. I think it'll be a tight series, but Nashville, famously, since Andrew Brunette canceled that U2 concert in Vegas a couple months ago, they've been on a hot streak. And they have many veterans such as Ryan O'Reilly and Roman Josi who know how to get it done in the postseason versus for Vancouver. You have many star forwards such as Brock Besser, Connor Garland, JT Miller, etc. But they are an inexperienced team and they have looked a bit inconsistent down the stretch. So I'm going to say the Predators upset the Canucks in 7 games. Next, we have our Edmonton Oilers against the LA Kings for the 3rd time in a row. I know the Kings are probably going to be motivated to defeat us, but I still believe in our team. I do believe we have greater depth, greater goaltending, greater skill overall. So I'm going to say the Oil in 5 games. Next, let's go to the East. Toronto versus Boston. I do think with all the demons that the Maple Leafs have faced against the Bruins in the past, I just have this gut feeling they're going to get this done. I may be wrong, but I'm going to say the Maple Leafs in 7 games. We have Tampa versus Florida, the battle of the state of Florida. I know they've met previously in the COVID-19 playoff years, and especially 2 years ago when the Panthers won the President's Trophy. Of course, the Bolts upset them in the 2nd round in a sweep of 4 games. I think it'll be a very tight series, but I do think Kucherov is on another level. The Bolts have lots of experience. And of course, the goaltending, as much as Bobrovsky has been great, I do need to give the edge to Vasilevsky on the Tampa Bay side. So I'm going to say the Bolts in 7. New York versus Washington. As a kid growing up watching Ovechkin, it's great to see him in the playoffs again, but I just don't think they have the horses to do what it takes to defeat New York. So I'm going to say the Rangers in 5. Panarin's been red hot. Adam Fox is stud. You got Igor Shesterkin in that. So I would say the Rangers in 5. And then last but not least, we have the Carolina Hurricanes against the New York Islanders in the 1st round. Rematch of last year. I do think the Canes overall have better forward depth. Of course, the Islanders have Sorokin and Varlamov in net. But I do think with some of the additions that the Hurricanes made at the deadline, they're just a greater team. And I just think they have overall better skill and depth. So I'm going to say the Hurricanes in 6 games. Next, let's go over to round 2. So based on who I've winning in round 1, so between the Winnipeg Jets and the Dallas Stars, that'll be a beauty of a matchup in my opinion. Both goalies are stud American goalies for both teams. Jake Ottinger for the Stars, and Connor Hellebuck for the Jets. But I do think the Stars overall have better forward depth. You know, they have guys like Rope Hintz, Jason Robertson, Joe Pavelski, Jamie Benn. And I do think their defense is definitely better with Miro Heiskanen and Ryan Suter, etc. It'll be a close series, but I'm going to say the Stars in 7 games. Next, we have the Oilers against the Predators. I know Leon likes to feast on those Nashville Predators. I know they have UC Saros, who is upper hand on Skinner. They have very good defense. I think Ekholm will be motivated to defeat his former team. I do think overall we have a better team than Nashville from the top down. So I'm going to say the Oilers in 6 games. Next, let's go to the East for the 2nd round. New York versus Carolina. I think that'll be a beauty of a series. We've seen these series a few times in the past. I think both teams are quite evenly matched. Of course, New York, you got Shesterkin and net. They got the advantage. But I think with the additions of Jake Gensel and also Evgeny Kuznetsov. I think the Hurricanes do have the upper hand, and I have them defeating the New York Rangers in 7 games. A very tight series. Would not be surprised if New York wins either, but should be a heck of a series. And then Toronto versus Tampa Bay. So I know the Leafs defeated the Bolts last year in round 1, but I think the Leafs are able to get over one demon, but I have the Bolts winning in 7, and that's because, again, the goaltending, I just don't trust the Leafs goaltending over Tampa. You got the experience of a Hedman, a Stamkos, Kucherov, Braden Point, and the Bolts, I don't know, with everything that they've proved in the past, just can't bet against them. Unless they prove me wrong, I have them upsetting both Florida and Toronto in rounds 1 and 2 respectively. Now let's move on to the conference finals. We've got the Stars against the Oilers based on my projections. It'll be a tight series. It'll be tough for our Oilers to defeat the Stars, but I do think McDavid, Draisaitl, and the boys will be on another level, and we'll just find a way to squeak through. Oilers in 7 over the Stars, but should be one heck of a series. And the Carolina Hurricanes against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Another good series, but I do think the Hurricanes, they're on a quest to finally get over the hump and get back to the Stanley Cup Finals. It'll be a tough matchup against Tampa Bay based on what we have, but I do think the Hurricanes take it barely as well. Hurricanes in 7, so both conference finals going to a Game 7. And now, based on what I projected for our Stanley Cup Finals, I have a rematch of 2006. I was just a young kid in 4th grade, still heartbroken from that series, but this year, with what we have, I have us defeating the Carolina Hurricanes in 7 games. Should be a beauty of a series. I do think they're quite evenly matched. Obviously, they're a different style of team, but we've added, of course, Corey Perry. We've added Adam Henrique, Sam Carrick. I know the Hurricanes have added more flashy names, such as Gensel and Kuznetsov, but in my opinion, it's not about adding the big names generally at free agency or the trade deadline especially. It's about augmenting the small pieces and going about your business the right way with the team you've constructed. I think it'll also go to 7 games, just like it did in 2006, but I think we fight the demons from 18 years ago, and I think Oilers finally win the Stanley Cup in 2024 in 7 games over the Carolina Hurricanes, and the Conn Smythe winner, our captain, Connor McDavid. Let's go Oilers!